Storm 0.6 offers a new set of tools to create and manipulate cloth simulations. These new tools are integrated in Storm's node graph and can be combined with the existing nodes and workflows to create very complex effects. Let's start with a basic cloth scene like this one. Right-click to open the Nodes menu and choose the grid to create a basic plane. The button on the right toggles the visibility of the node. Increase the subdivisions to create a much denser mesh. In the next step, create a cloth solver node and connect the grid to the solver. Again, you can switch on and off visibility with the buttons on the right side of the nodes. For the simulation to work properly, the node graph must be evaluated also on substeps. Enable this option in the general settings. If you start the simulation, the cloth is already being simulated, but since there are no obstacles, it just falls to the ground. To prevent this, we can lock some parts of the mesh. For this, we can use the new guide node. The guide node has two inputs. The left side expects the dynamic mesh or particles. The right side expects some kind of target form of the same mesh in an undynamic state. At the moment, the guide node affects the whole mesh. To limit the effect, we can introduce a guide attribute. The set attribute node can do this for us. We can connect the node just by dragging it over the existing connections. To define which particles should get the guide attribute set to 1, we can connect a mesh as a mask. Press R to create a read node and T to create a transform node. Plug the transform node into the second input of the set attribute node and position it by pressing V for translation, E for rotation and R for scaling. Now you can turn off visibility of some of the nodes, but it's important to enable the visibility of the last node. If you start the simulation now, the particles inside the mesh are locked. You can add a little fall off with the distance mask fall off to smooth out the effect. To make things a little more interesting, we can add a collider. For this, just press the Add Collider button in the toolbar. Since the collider is originally created for the classic system, we need to import it into the node graph. To do this, we need the Collide Classic node. Just add this to the node graph and choose the new collider in the collider name field. Activate the node and start simulation again. And there you have it, a basic cloth setup in Storm 0.6.